Nae'Qwan, you were one of the bright spots of this game, but overall, second night of a back-to-back, and this is a 5-7. What do you feel like just kind of was missing overall from the group?
I think probably just energy. I think like we were just tired, back-to-back, late travel. So yeah.
What are you being told about your play and how you've been able to kind of be that spark off the bench?
Just coming in, being an energy guy, crashing no boards, just trying to give the team extra possessions, just playing hard.
How much do you think the schedule plays into what the energy level was tonight?
I think it played a decent part. I don't want to make excuses. I feel like we should come out and win every game, but I feel like it's a decent part.
These last two nights, you showed what you could do on the court. What do you feel like you showed in these two good performances?
That I'm just play hard guy. Just go out there and play hard, do whatever I can to help win.
We talked a little bit about the energy that you can ignite. Obviously, your dunks, blocks, rebounds can do that. And looking over to the bench and seeing how much that is appreciated, particularly guys that aren't playing, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. It means a lot. Like some of these guys, I talk to them all the time, when I wasn't playing. And they just give me that encouragement and things like that, yeah.
How much fun is it for you to get one of those monster dunks and look over and see them celebrating you, but also you getting to do what you do?
Well, it means a lot. That's just what I like to. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate. So if I get a dunk, block, stop, anything, I just want to give out my emotions.
Offensively, how much is utilizing those baseline cuts going to be getting you easy buckets with these guys?
Oh, a lot. Guys be in high gaps. So got cut and slide.
How do you summon energy within yourself when you're not, and maybe plays aren't necessarily being run for you?
You just do. It's just what I have to do. Come in the game and just be that spark.
How do you learn that, or is that maybe something that's just inherently you have it or you don't?
I think it's just something that I gained over time. Just I've been like throughout even just college or my last year in the G, I've been that guy that was a starter or came off the bench, or didn't play. So always just to find minutes, I always had to find something for me to get on that court. So that just always stuck with me.
You mentioned that passion, and obviously you have to play at a certain intensity. Did you learn that from playing at Rucker Park, or where does that dog mentality come from?
Oh, definitely New York, for sure.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Craig, obviously second night of a back-to-back, you guys are getting in, midway through the morning, 5-7. Just what did you feel like was missing from this Toronto game?
Just like you said, we just came in and everybody's kind of tired, and you could see that. But it's not an excuse for us to give that level of effort, and we all know that, and that's one thing we emphasize, just making sure we play hard every night regardless of who's out there.
What was Kenny's message after this game?
The same thing, we have enough guys in this room, and we know even from yesterday's game how many guys in this room can play and can contribute to winning, and it was just a disappointment with the effort, and that's all.
What did you make of Nae'Qwan Tomlin out there tonight? That was probably the bright spot of the game.
Yeah, he showed everything he can do and everything he needs to do to help this team, and it's nothing I haven't seen before, honestly, and it's a guy I like to play with a lot because he does everything you could ask. All the little things, the rebounding and just the energy, and he brought us back into that game a lot.
Craig, what do you think you guys have to do better in order to dictate the style of game that's played?
I feel like a lot of the last few games, I feel like shots haven't fallen. I feel like we've driven the ball a lot more, gotten a lot more paint touches, in transition a lot more. Our defense picked up and everything. I feel like shots just haven't been falling. Guys are tired and everything, but I feel like that's the biggest part of it.
When it comes to Nae'Qwan's performance and just the energy that he brings, the intensity that he brings, you see the monster dunks and the lobs that you guys connected on. What does that bring, infectious-wise, to this group?
I feel like it just brings another level of energy. There were times tonight where, we let a couple guys go and get a wide-open layup or whatever. You might have to put Nae'Qwan in, and he's not going to let that happen. He might foul a guy or whatever, but he just brings a different level of energy, and, that's the type of things we need to just stay in games like this on back-to-back back-to-back nights.
Seeing him do that over the last couple of years, obviously he's been here now for the second year, but you seeing him with the G League and seeing just the work that he's put in to get here and seeing the opportunities that he's getting, what does that mean to see that?
It's big, especially for me because I was in that same position. So anytime I see a two-way guy in that position, I just try to help him any way I can because I've been through that same road and I know what it will take for somebody to get what they want out of this job at the end of the day. And he does all the little things, and that's all you can ask of a guy like that, and I'm proud of him.
Evan only took 7 shots, 35 minutes tonight. What can you guys do to help get him more involved?
I feel like we could just lighten the load on him a little. I feel like we've been asking a lot of him this year, and, him being in that position is going to be difficult. And nights like this, it'll happen. I feel like we all kind of lost him a little tonight, and I feel like, honestly, it's just a lot of little things. Like, I could probably screen a couple more times for him, get him the ball in an easier spot to not try to make him force it and play make for himself. So,
and what if anything, can you do to make himself more available?
I feel like just using his voice a little more. I know it's a thing he's been working on, but I feel like he's gotten a lot better at it, just being more dominant and being the leader of this team. And it's not anything I don't think he can't do. And I've seen him do it before, and, it's Evan, so we know he'll do it.
You mentioned the defensive rotations being a little bit slow. How do you prevent that? How do you prevent ball watching and those things that have kind of forced the offense of the other team to do different things?
It's like you said, it's a mental thing. You just got to be focused on it. And the way our defense is, we all protect each other, so we just got a little lopsided on that. And, fatigue played into it a lot for sure, but I feel like we can definitely get back on that track.
Thanks, Greg.
Appreciate it.
I see this is 5 and 7, but what did you feel like was missing from this one?
I think the biggest thing was just the mental push through. Yeah, we're going to be tired, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to be tired when it comes down to it. And this was a test that I say we failed, right? But we can use this and be better next time. But we just didn't have it as a collective, and that's natural when you have a 5 and 7 and you're traveling and doing all that stuff. But as a collective, we just didn't do it together, and that's the tough part. Because when those moments, we got to talk even more. We got to execute even better. You know what I mean? And I think as a group, we just didn't do that, and we'll be better.
In terms of the offensive rhythm, why do you think it just kind of wasn't there?
Well, it's tough. It's one of those things where if you're not making shots as a group, before I hit it, especially from 3, we're shooting 24%, you can't let it affect you as a whole. And then I come out there with 7 turnovers, doesn't help, right? You know what I mean? But as a group, like I said, when you're mentally fatigued and you're physically fatigued, that's when mentally you got to be sharper and stronger as a group. And we weren't that tonight, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Obviously, you have a homestand coming up. How do you want to respond?
Yeah, respond on Saturday and play well in front of the home crowd, sleep in our beds for a little bit, and then kind of recoup, and as a group, like I said, get better.
Donovan, what do you think that you guys need to do better in order to control how the game is played, in terms of the style?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like an execution standpoint on both sides, right? There's certain plays or certain things where if you get back cut, or if we do get back cut, who's there to protect? There's one where I got the foul on I forgot how to say his name, the lefty 55, but I get the foul because I'm a step late, right? Those are situations where you got to be there earlier because we're going to make mistakes, right? Guys are good, they're going to make plays, but it's what do we do to cover those things up? And we just didn't do that. We haven't done that. And yeah, fatigue is obviously a factor, but at the end of the day, this is what it's going to be, right? And how do we continue to think the game as even though physically we may not be, where we want to be?
So you think that's more of a mental thing that you guys?
I think just being in our spot, because you see, obviously the young guys last night had energy and they did a great job as a collective, but it was just hey, even if you make aggressive mistakes, we had each other's back, right? Tonight wasn't that. Monday in the second, or was it Monday? Whatever it was, in the second half, you saw that, right? So how can we on a consistent basis do that every single night? And tonight we didn't do it, but we'll watch the film and we'll improve.
Donnie, you talked a little about wanting to be effective this season, wanting to save your body as much as you could. But tonight you got downhill, you got 15 of 17 from the free throw line. What told you that tonight was a night that you need to get to the basket?
Well, I had the day off for a reason, right? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where when you have a plan, which we do as a team, which we all know, when you have that burst to get downhill. And obviously, the three ball hasn't necessarily gone in for me in the past few games, so just trying to make it a point. And also, what comes with that is driving lanes and passing lanes and getting guys opportunities to shoot. But when you have fresher legs, you push the brake, try to get downhill, try to create, initiate, and live with the result. And I think we made some great plays. I mean, I had 7 turnovers, which are bad, and some are stupid, some are, it just happens, right? But at the end of the day, hey, just trying to create, trying to be that guy to get downhill and create. But at the end of the day, that's my job, to try to find a way to play make. And tonight was one of those nights where you got to go. You got to just find a way to get down there and get downhill and create, however that may be.
Without Darius and without Lonzo tonight, how much did you put on yourself, maybe even a little bit more than you needed to, for the offensive creation?
Yeah, when you read the game, right? And like I said, you could tell guys are tired. So now it's like, all right, making the point to be a little more aggressive. And I don't mean just to go score, right? Just to get down there and, make plays. And sometimes you make mistakes with that. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not a guy who averages 7 turnovers, but I made some mistakes tonight, But I've also made some solid plays, and I watched the film and I'll be better. But as it's my job to kind of feel what the game gives, right? And understand that, hey, let's slow the game down and get to the free throw line. Let's give guys a break. Let's give us a break to stay. Different things. And that's just part of it. And, these are the nights where you just got to find ways to win by any means necessary. And unfortunately, it didn't happen tonight, but we'll be better.
Last regular season, everything started off perfectly. This has been an up and down start to the season. What can you learn from this and build off from this experience?
I hate to sound like a sicko, but this is great. To be honest, because last year you started 15-0, we're blowing teams out. You're never really mentally tested, right? You know what I mean? And I think now we've had, 8-5? 8-5. In those 13 games, we've had 13 different scenarios, right? We've had blowouts. We've had come from behind wins. We've had given up a lead and still won. We've had, where we've just give up the lead and tonight. There's different things, and you're learning so much. And on top of that, our young guys, and I want to take away from your question 1 second, but our young guys have been phenomenal. That's the thing that's been consistent the entire year. Nae'Qwan Tomlin, Craig Porter, Tyrese Proctor, Jalen Tyson have been phenomenal. I don't think you see that if we go 15-0, right? I don't think you see that. So when we come to the playoffs, they know, the moments. The fourth quarter, Tyrese is big time. Craig last night, Nae'Qwan tonight, 8 of 10, guarding Scotty Barnes, getting on the boards, right? Jalen Tyson, we've all seen what he's been doing. So we don't get that if we just go perfect. You go through all these things, and there were times in Utah we were 19-30. And then made the playoffs, right? So the sky's not falling. These are great tests for us and great battles, and we're not worried as a group. We have things to fix. Don't get it twisted, but this is a good place and a good thing for us to learn.
Evan had 7 shots, only took 7 shots in 35 minutes tonight. What can he do on his end to make himself more available? Yeah,
I think just being more assertive, right? Like I said to y'all, a lot was put on him expectation-wise, rightfully so. He's done the work. He's been that, but it's never always going to be perfect, right? There's going to be nights where tonight he struggled, but he's also the same guy that when we played these guys last time, he had 29 and figured it out, right? So, let's understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's going to be days where we have to get on him. There's going to be days where he's going to figure it out, but, it's all part of the process. And, in a sense, this is a good thing because he sees, okay, I got to kind of assert myself here. You see in the fourth quarter against Miami, he's taking over, they're hitting the big shots, getting to the, so it's all part of that process. It's hard coming in and just being that guy right at a young age, it's hard. It's not easy, and you guys are watching development in real time, and development isn't just a straight shot. You know what I mean? And I think for what you're seeing, it's just all part of the ebbs and flows. And he'll be better. He knows it, and we know it, and he'll be better for us. But it's all part of it.
Last question. You mentioned Nae'Qwan Tomlin, and obviously wanting to have players that have that energy, that intensity, and obviously the Monster Ducks can do that. But his energy, his mentality, even when he's not getting minutes, to come in and have a game like tonight, what does that say about a player and what he can do when called upon?
Well, when you're ready for your moment, you look at, he's only played basketball for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where he doesn't even know how good he can be. He's starting to figure it out, but it's all the little things. It's the cut when I'm driving and he gets the dunk. It's the little things that teams are going to load up on me. What are you going to do? You're going to stand there? No, you make the right play. Teams aren't going to box you out because they're necessarily worried about Evan or J.A. You come in there sneaking. Now you're getting 2 tips. Now you're getting 2 rebounds. Now you're there, energy play and 1, right? It just lifts us. It's not always necessarily going to come from myself, DG, Ev, Dre, J.A., right? It should, obviously, but there's going to be moments where, hey, we're going to need that little burst. We're going to be a game 3 on the road, and they're gonna be doing all they can, and you have him come in for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes and fucking like change the game. Like that's what you're seeing in these 13 games, and that's the bright spot, right? Like there's so much growth to be had as a group, but you're seeing it in every single one of our young guys, and that's if you take one thing from these 13 games, that's the highlight. They've been unreal, you know what I mean, and that's big time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.